That's more like it. Dude, you were just at the chiropractor like 3 days ago.
It was more like 2 weeks ago. I didn't go this week or last week.
You know, I don't have a calendar right on me, but it feels like it was more recent than that.
Feels wrong.
Anyway, remember Eddie Murphy?
I do. We just watched him in Dolomite.
That was, what's that movie actually called? My Name is Dolomite.
Oh yeah, My Name is Dolomite.
And we saw our friend, you remember The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Nick Nolte was in that.
Oh yeah, Nick Nolte was in that. Yeah, but we were unsure if it was Gary Busey or Nick Nolte, but it was Nick Nolte.
When I was a kid, I always used to confuse Gary Busey and Nick Nolte.
Me as well. There are certain
Really,
celebrities, yeah, that I confuse all the time.
Kind of like me with Jockin' Phoenix and what's that one motherfucker's name? Ethan Hawke or some shit.
I don't confuse them.
Well, I do. Anyway, we watched 48 Hours. I hadn't seen 48 Hours all the way through since I was real little. Like, we're talking mid to late 80s.
Yeah, it's been that long since I watched it. Nothing like I remembered it.
I remember that movie being more action-packed and funnier.
Yeah, like, I thought it was like a buddy comedy movie that was, like, repeatedly laugh out loud funny, but it was not that funny at all. Like, until Eddie Murphy came in, it wasn't funny at all. It was not funny.
Right. It wasn't even like Lethal Weapon funny. You know, Lethal Weapon's kind of funny.
I haven't seen that either in years, so maybe
shut the fuck up.
That might not be funny anymore either.
No, it's gonna be funny as hell.
But like, y'all don't want to watch this movie at this time right now because it had them N-word jokes, and I was like, what the hell?
It was the early 80s. The year was 1982.
I don't remember that. Of course, I was a kid.
You probably watched it on television. Even in the early 80s, they weren't really letting you drop N-bombs on the television.
I'm surprised that Eddie Murphy would play a role like that. I mean, I know people do stuff for the money, but
what do you mean a role like that?
I mean, with those jokes, like, they were... Like, they're not acceptable in this day and age, and I'm surprised that it was even acceptable then.
You know, remember that Eddie Murphy Raw? Like,
I do. That was funny as hell.
Delirious. When was the last time you watched that?
I actually watched that like a couple years ago.
Really? And
it's on Netflix, or it was.
It didn't offend your modern sensibilities?
No, because he's black. Nick Nolte was the one that was being offensive.
I mean, he talks about, gay things and all that stuff. Not in a flattering way.
I mean, I don't remember it in depth, but no, I didn't.
Anyway, I apparently forgot everything about 48 Hours, except in the very beginning of the movie, right after Nick Nolte picks up Eddie Murphy from prison, there's a part where they're driving down the street, and in front of them is Eddie Murphy's car. You know, the one that had the dust all over it? You could see it driving down the street. And it was like, I was like, wait a minute, why is that car there?
Right.
That was a goof. Put that on the Internet Movie Database.
That was a goof.
They call those goofs.
I feel like there's another word that they call it.
Continuity error.
Yeah, that's it.
So anyway, let's talk about the plot real quick. James Remar, a.k.a. Ajax from the Warriors, breaks out of pounding in the ass prison, and he's on the lam, somehow goes back to the city, gets in a shootout with some... I don't fucking know what happened. What happened, Joyce?
I also didn't get that whole movie either. I came in...
Well, for some reason...
right before he was getting Eddie Murphy out of jail.
He's like he's loose, and then...
Were they cellmates?
No, we're not there yet. James Remar has some detectives track him down, and then he shoots them. And then Nick Nolte comes in as backup, and then he fails to catch James Remar as well. And then he goes back to the police station. They're all like, "Oh, you're a little bitch," and he's like, "I don't need a partner." And then he's like, "Yeah, you do," and he's like, "No, I don't need a partner." Do you remember all that?
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see it. You were fucking sitting right here.
I wasn't. If you'll recall, I was crafting and came home while you were watching it.
That happened? Wait, when did you come in and watch it?
I just told you right before he got Eddie out of prison.
Okay, well, let me bring you up to speed.
5 minutes before that.
James Remar is in prison. The Indian guy comes and breaks him out. And then they go to the city, whatever city they're in. I guess it's LA. And then the two detective guys track him down at some lady's house where him and the Indian guy are, they're banging some bitches over there. And then he shoots the two police officers and gets in a shootout with Nick Nolte. Steals Nick Nolte's gun. And then Nick Nolte's like, "I know a guy that'll help me track him down." And then which is Eddie Murphy.
Okay. But why did Eddie Murphy need to track them down? Wasn't he a cellmate of somebody that...
That was the money. Eddie Murphy and him got into some heist together when they were like in a gang of criminals. They were like in a badass early 80s street gang together.
The Warriors?
Yeah, like Eddie Murphy was basically like a warrior. With Luther.
Who was played by...
David Patrick Kelly.
Right. That's what I was getting at. He knew him.
He knew all these bad guys. So him and Nick Nolte keep, like, the rest of the movie is them just going from place to place, finding various gang members and trying to track this asshole down, and the money.
And having situational type comedy that isn't all that funny anymore.
No, but I mean, I guess what, like, maybe you younger kids don't know this, but 48 Hours was an extremely popular movie back in the early 80s. Like, it was the precursor to
Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, the funnier and more successful Beverly Hills Cop.
Right. And I may be thinking of Beverly Hills Cop when I'm thinking like this was a super funny movie because I confused the two, but it just really wasn't like very funny.
It was not funny. Even the parts that were supposed to be funny,
like one
weren't
of
really that funny.
The themes of it is like Eddie Murphy's trying to get laid since he got out of prison, but every time it's like addressed, it's just really not funny.
That whole him trying to get laid thing, it's more like a, Adam Sandler type humor.
Right. It's just
like, God damn, I need to get laid.
It doesn't hold up. And I'm not a politically correct person, but I didn't think it was funny at all. I thought it was too brusque.
I just didn't think the jokes were funny.
Right.
The most entertaining scene for me is the part where they go to the cowboy bar with the Confederate flags everywhere. Like, they're in, I don't know what city they're in. Maybe it was fucking San Diego. Vaguely California, big city. And Nick Nolte, for some reason, gives Eddie Murphy... Oh, it's for a bet.
For sex, so Eddie Murphy can get laid.
Some of the plot devices in this movie are real fucking farcical.
Right.
But anyway, Eddie Murphy gets the badge, and he starts, shaking down all these cowboys in this redneck-ass bar. And he's playing like an aggressive cop. That part was kind of amusing.
Right, it was alright.
I wasn't really laughing, but it was just like, oh, well, this scene is entertaining at least.
Yeah, it was at least entertaining. Agree.
And I don't know, what'd you think about James Remar? I think that big Indian was the guy from Predator.
Oh, he plays the alien Predator?
No, the fucking Indian from Predator, the guy with the knife.
Indian from Predator.
The guy that, he's standing on that bridge and, cuts himself for some reason.
Oh.
The guy that's just like, I'm not going with you for no reason. I'm gonna slice myself open on this bridge.
I thought that James Remar played his character well.
Dude,
He's a good actor.
he needed to be the villain in so many more movies back in the day because he was right up there with David Patrick Kelly as a creeper and is like, fuck this guy.
Isn't he the same one that's Dexter's dad?
I believe so. I never
Yeah.
watched Dexter.
As an older actor, yeah.
I don't watch television.
Actually, I don't watch television.
So yeah, 48 Hours revisited. Was it what you expected? Better than what you expected? Or did it fail to meet your expectations?
Definitely failed. Don't remember it like that at all. Thought it was funnier. Let down.
I'm gonna have to agree. It,
And also, like, I feel like I liked Nick Nolte better before I saw this movie again. Like, when I saw this, I was like, he's not really that great of an actor in this. And it
Yeah.
just wasn't funny either. But he was just kind of like, wouldn't really putting any emotion or whatever into it.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I just feel like the writing and the dialogue was just real dry, or maybe it was the direction. I don't know. Walter Hill's not a bad director, but I don't. It just.
Fell short.
It,
Doesn't
yeah.
hold up.
Something was just not right about this movie. It did not stand the test of time with me.
Well, it didn't provide that comedy or dramedy, whatever it is that they were trying to go for. It did not define it.
What about Denise Crosby and her boobs? For all you Star Trek fans,
Did she show her boobs?
you didn't see that part at the end when they go back to the apartment.
No.
Joyce not paying attention.
But I'm the one that called that it was her. Do I get the credit for that?
No, you don't, because everybody knew it was her right away.
You didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. You
Yeah.
even confirmed it at the end of the movie by looking at the credits to make sure. No.
Like and subscribe.